North Node in Taurus. If you're a North Node in Taurus, then your South Node is Scorpio. North Node in Taurus falls in the second house, okay? And Taurus and Scorpio both rule money, power, and sensuality, sexuality. That's what they rule, okay? Now, your life purpose involves learning to balance, okay? You have to balance the spiritual and the material world. You're going to definitely have to learn how to not get so caught up in the material. Now, the thing about North Node and Taurus, you guys just exude sexuality. You guys it's just coming off of you. And power. You're a very powerful sign. When your North Node is in Taurus, you're a very powerful person. Okay, but you are often prone to extremes, and that's definitely the Scorpio. You're prone to extremes. You're pulled between, the practical, the realistic, and the mystical, and the spiritual, and like you're pulled in between. This is the sensible, this is the spiritual. Like, you're pulled, and you have to learn how to balance your life out. Okay, now the attributes that you need to develop in this life are loyalty, and you're already a very loyal, and that's what you want from a partner as well. You need to develop awareness of boundaries. The thing about you, if you're a North Node in Taurus, is that you have to be willing to express and to commit to yourself and to letting people know you cannot go past here. You cannot go past here. This is a boundary. This is a boundary. Be aware of your boundaries and be aware of the limitations. Okay? You also need to develop a sense of self-worth. Now, the thing about North Node in Taurus is that not all North Node and Taurus have this thing where they've tried to find their self-worth through other people. Okay, that's a huge thing for a North Node and Taurus, is seeking self-worth from others, from other people giving you that validation. And in this life, the attribute you need to develop is finding that self-worth through yourself. Patience is going to be a huge thing that you have to develop. And patience, and it's funny because the North Node, a regular Taurus, I'm a Taurus, and patience, I can definitely say, is not our strongest suit. We know how to be patient when we need to be patient. And I guess for North Node, you definitely have to develop it. Now, again, so you guys know North Node are your karmic lessons. Okay, South Node are the challenges and gifts. North Node is your purpose and the things that you have been sent here to develop. Now, another thing that you're going to have to develop is taking things one step at a time, trying not to rush things, enjoying the five senses, finding pleasure in taste, sound, smell, touch, and sound. So you're going to have to definitely find and develop, giving into the five senses and finding the amazingness that can come from those five senses, Music is a huge thing for North Node Taurus. You guys love music. You also have to develop gratitude. Okay, you have to develop persistence. Forgiveness is a big thing you have to develop too. And forgiveness is key, I want to say here, because a lot of people, not a lot of people, I can't say a lot because this falls for all North Nodes in Taurus. Your childhood, the way you grew up, you may have really dealt with abuse, neglect, some form of being mistreated. And a major challenge for you in this life is going to be disidentifying with your family and with your childhood. That's going to be a major thing for you, is disidentifying with what happened to you and the people that did it. And another thing for you North Node Taurus is that you are so quick to take the guilt, to take all of it, to bear the burden. And you have to learn in this life that you don't always have to take the guilt on for yourself. Okay? Now, tendencies to leave behind in this life will be attraction to crisis situations. Being attracted to seeing things go to shit and figuring out how you can help fix it. That is something that, that's like being attracted to drama, Another tendency to leave behind is over concern with other people's business. Basically, don't be nosy. stop being nosy. Stop wanting all the tea. Stop, you know, trying to get this and that information and knowing everything and the ins and outs. Leave that shit behind. Impatience is another thing to leave behind. Inappropriate intensity. That's that Scorpio, that South Node Scorpio. Because Scorpios are very intense. And since you are a North Node in Taurus, you have the Scorpio tendencies as well. And you're going to have to leave behind that intensity. There's appropriate times and places for intensity. Judgmental tendency is another thing to leave behind. Judgmental, like thinking, trying to get everyone to see things from your point of view, or judging people for not being like you have to leave that behind. Preoccupation with the psychological motivations of others. Stop trying to understand why people do shit. It's not your job to understand. Resistance to cooperation with others. Okay, you have to be a team player. You have to be a team player. Overreacting. Destroying something in order to eliminate one part. That's something huge, I think. Destroying something to eliminate one part. Instead of, like, you know, just taking that part and trying to fix it, you just would rather turn everything to shit. Burn it all instead of working on one thing, like working on that part, okay? Obsessive compulsive tendencies. That is Scorpio. Okay, obsessive compulsive tendencies. It's like Joe, you know, like obsessive, and you just do things, and you don't, like, you don't know why you're so obsessed with this person or this thing, but you are, and you can't stop yourself. You have to leave that stuff behind, especially in relationships. Now, your Achilles heel, traps to avoid in life, what you don't want, you know, is, again, seeking self-worth through other people. That's going to be a huge thing. It's kind of like the North Node Aries, because theirs is finding their identity and stop trying to see their identity through other people. With the Taurus North Node, you have to stop trying to find your self-worth through other people, especially relationships, okay? Because once you start trying to find your self-worth through others, okay, you begin to find this, like, you go on this search for, like, this soulmate, like this perfect person, and that does not exist. And I know right now in the astro community or tarot community, it's like the big twin flame soulmate. If you begin to want to find that person, no one else will be good enough, first off, and then you're never going to think that you're good enough because you haven't attracted that person in your life yet. So you have to seek your self-worth from yourself. Also, I think another thing with seeking the self-worth from others definitely can attribute to childhood. Definitely can attribute to being mistreated or being neglected and not feeling like you were enough. So you based your sense of self-worth off of how you were treated or how you were handled as a child, and maybe as you grew up, you began to think, you know, other people had to tell you how much you were worth. You're never going to get the validation you seek. You're never going to get that. It's not anyone else's job to give you validation. It's not anyone else's job to tell you you're enough. That has to come from within, okay? And at some point in your life, you have to stop being so immersed in other people's shit, in other people's lives, in other people's business. You have to stop being so immersed. And I feel like this is a coping mechanism to try to keep from yourself. You have to stop. You have to start walking your own path, doing your own thing, leaving behind the social media or the reality television and going about on your own way, okay? Now, what you really want, and I know that I'm saying that you have to go your own way, but I know that what you guys really want is a commitment. You want a relationship where there is it's equal. No one's above, no one's beneath. It's equal empowerment. And you want total, permanent commitment. You want someone who can take care of all of your materialistic needs, and you'll take care of their emotional needs, like, or vice versa. But you need that, like, that's something that's gonna make you happy in this life, is finding that kind of relationship, not where you're submissive and they're dominant, or you're dominant, they're submissive. It has to be equal empowerment, okay? But in order for you to find this relationship, you have to figure out, what do you value? This is like the Lovers card in tarot. The Lovers card is a big relationship card, but the Lovers card also represents beliefs, values, all of those things, because you cannot in the Bible, they say you can't be unevenly yoked, right? You cannot be in a relationship with someone who does not have or share some of the same values and beliefs. And in order for you to have that kind of relationship, you have to know what it is that you value, what is that you believe, what it is that you want. You have to be aware of your wants, your needs, express them as also, so that you can attract the right person into your life. Okay? Your challenge is going to be figuring out who you are as an individual. Okay? Now, for you, talent, profession wise, like what will you be good at in this life? You're definitely a master builder. The Taurus sign is an earth sign, right? And they are great at creating things, right? They're great at manifesting things, right? So the one thing that you guys need to do is have jobs where, you know, you find value in what you're creating. You find value in what it is that you're doing, and you believe in it. Okay? You have to have a job that you want to follow the rules as well. So you can build that. You have to be willing to build, you know, listen, and you have to want to listen. Now, you also will excel in professions that, you know, you can make your own money. I do think entrepreneurship would be great, because you have talents with money. Now you do, if you're a Taurus North Node, you may in this lifetime, if it hasn't already happened, it may happen in the future, is having issues with debt. And I say this because, you know, you're great at manifesting money, right? But you're also really great at giving your money away. And then once you give your money away, you might have to get a loan, or you might have to do this, and you're getting approved for it, but you're putting yourself in debt. Oh, let me get another credit card. Let me do this. Let me do that. You know, you're great at taking, you have talent with money, but having a talent for money and having a respect of money and understanding the energy of money are two different things. Any field that emphasizes appreciation of physical aspects as well is great. So you could do something farming, construction, engineering, cooking, teaching physical education. You could do things like, because it says crisis situation. If you've ever seen that show 911, being that caller, that could definitely be something, because it's a crisis situation. EMT, firefighter, something like that, that could be great. Now, I want you guys, I'm going to leave you guys with this, okay? The general Taurus North Node thing, the best thing that you can do for yourself, my loves, is to go your own way. Figure yourself out. Figure out who you are. Figure out what you want. Figure out where you're going. That is the best thing that you can do for yourself and anyone else that you're going to be with in the future, okay? You have to make sure that you keep those things that are important to you and you hold strong to them, that you don't lose yourself to anyone, that you express how you feel, you express what you want, you put up those boundaries. You don't just immediately trust people. You're not just like, you know, oh, this person said this, so I trust them, okay? You definitely need to make sure that you're putting up those boundaries. You also have to make sure you're not forcing yourself into other people's lives. You're not forcing yourself into other people's spaces if they don't want you. That's that intensity, like forcing yourself onto other people. Also, one thing, it's okay to want to have money and have nice things. A lot of Taurus North Node definitely tries to suppress their want of wealth, or they try to look at it like it's evil. Money's not evil, it's the people. Okay, just like guns aren't the problem, it's the people using them, right? So definitely deal with that. You definitely have to make sure that you have people in your life that are loyal and committed, because that's huge for you as a Taurus North Node. It's very huge for you, and you need to learn to rely on yourself and to empower yourself. Okay, I hope that this made sense for you if you are a Taurus North Node. Now, this is a very just brief description, but if you want to look up your North Node. Figure out who you are. Figure out those things that maybe you already knew that you need to work on, or things that you knew that you need to let go of. Okay, I hope that you like this video.